Tonight, a new poll linking President Obama to the tarnished legacy of one of America's most controversial presidents. The latest Washington Post ABC News poll reveals that only one president since World War II has had a worse job approval rating at this point in his presidency, and that president was Richard Nixon, who later resigned under threat of near certain impeachment. You can see he was at 29%. That's not good. President Obama, he looks pretty good by comparison. He's at 43%, but compared to the ones above, not so much. Brit Hume is our Fox News senior political analyst, and you never, even though a lot of people love President Nixon, you never want to see that split screen. You don't want to see your approval rating being linked to his, Brit.
Well, when you're President Obama and you're doing as badly as he's been doing, you wouldn't mind, because after all, he's 14 percentage points ahead of Nixon. There's really no comparison, I think, between Nixon and Obama at this stage. I think President Obama's situation is roughly comparable to where President George W. Bush was.
It's surprising that George Bush was ahead of him. He was 47% at this point.
Well, I understand that. I'm saying roughly comparable, Megan. I'm not saying they were exactly the same. And George W. Bush was going through the nadir of the Iraq War when things were really at their worst, and the public had turned against the war. There was no good news coming out of that. It was, it was known then as the main initiative of his administration, and it was failing. And it had the expected effect on his popularity, which was pretty severe. The similar situation with President Obama. The main initiative of his administration, much more so than the economy, which was what people wanted to be his main initiative, was this Obamacare. And of course, it's beginning, and the effect of its policy so far has been disastrous, and we have seen a precipitous drop. I mean, the striking thing about the Obama ratings is how abruptly they've fallen and how far.
How much do you think that drop is affected by the fact that the healthcare.gov rollout was poor, and there have been some problems with Obamacare, and or the fact that they don't believe he is trustworthy anymore? And we mentioned the Glenn Kessler of the Washington Post. He does the the fact checking. He says 3 of the top 10 lies of 2013 were from the president. So how much does that play in to the precipitous fall?
Look, President Obama, more so than almost any president I can think of, got the benefit of the doubt from the public on a lot of things that enabled him to survive politically and be reelected in the face of circumstances that I think would have defeated many another president. The economy, for example, has never fully recovered. This same poll that we're talking about had nearly 80% of the people saying they think we're still in recession. That's 5 years in. That's not a good record on the economy, and it would have brought, I think, other presidents down. But by the combination of people's like of him and their trust of him, coupled with the greatest voter mobilization ever in history, he was able to be reelected. Now I think these chickens are all coming home to roost. The whopper about you can keep your plan, you can keep your doctor, you can keep your hospital, is the big weapon that's hurt him badly. But there's an accumulation of things that have, I think, caused people to lose trust. And now that it's lost, as a million other people have already said, Megan, it's very hard to regain it.
And do you think, Britt, because there's been so much talk in the country about whether we're more politically divided now than ever, is that playing into it? That we've got the country just so adamantly opposed to one another. We've got cable news wars. Is that causing President Obama to be in a worse situation than prior presidents?
Well, perhaps, but look, it's been this way for a while, and the polarized electorate means that any president of either party is going to have a phalanx of people who are adherents of the other party who are not going to like him no matter what he does. So you begin with a sort of a base of people, 25, 30% or more of the people who are going to be against you. And if you lose ground among independents and members of your own party, you're in a lot of trouble in a hurry. And that's what's happened to this president. He's lost ground with Democrats who, in addition to this Obamacare mess, which has, I think, affected Democrats, you have other things, the surveillance programs, for example, that a lot of Democrats don't like. The libertarian right doesn't like it either, but neither do a lot of Democrats. A lot of liberals don't like it. So these things have fed into the generalized loss of support that you see. And it's, as I say, it's been pretty abrupt.
Yeah. Britt, good to see you.
Thank you, Megan.